Hey guys, how's it going? It is Kire here with another Infinite Magicraid video, and in today's video, got a couple corrections to make, some good news, some bad news, and then we also got some more information on the new hero Iger here. So first thing is going to be something I completely missed. When I was reading the initial patch notes before they go live officially on the Discord, I was thinking Zia, when I was just kind of glancing over it, I should have read it more carefully, that I thought Zia was going to be something like this, where it's like on the harder floor here, you would be able to get like Zia as the thing. But they stopped doing that. They're doing this new thing where you get a lot more shards now. Zia is actually going to be in this section here for the quests. So right now we have the hero quest for Eric. I think he's a solid hero. I figured they were only going to put like mid-tier heroes in this, but Zia is actually really good. And I think that's really exciting for next month. And that's going to go live in about 14 days when we could start working our way towards getting a free Zia. And so I think that's awesome that they're doing that. I think Eric's actually a pretty good character too. Nothing too crazy. Burn character, really annoying to deal with in the campaign if you're currently struggling with that or remember having to do that. He's one of the big problems to deal with. So he's actually pretty good. Kind of a fan that they're actually making sure you're getting good heroes with this. I think Zia's on the high end when it came to the heroes that they were going to offer in the hero quests. So I think that's really good news. And I totally misread it last time. Then the bad news is this wish Rateup event. Currently we have this one here where it has the reduction in the amount before pity, and this one is solid. I ended up pulling for this one, but the next one, the error that they had in the patch notes that they gave us, they said 20% increase to summons for the supreme wishes, but then as you can see here, they on their post they say it's 2%. This is the official one because that's why they don't want to show and stuff, because things might change, but you could at least announce it. And then the 2% is what it's actually going to be. So it goes from an 8% chance to summon one to a 10%. So that's significantly less exciting going forward. And then for that event going on January 24th to the 26th. So I don't think it's like really worth pulling for that. Maybe there's some math thing out there where it's like, oh, wow, this is actually a really good change. You mean like mathematically, but I'm not sure. Just a difference between 8 to 2% just doesn't, or 8 to 10% doesn't seem like much to me, in my opinion. And then also currently going on with this one, I've been seeing a lot of comments saying that the reduction in pity actually screws people up if they were actually close to pity previously before this current event. So right now, see how it has 15 minus 3. So that's why my wish is 12. And this one is 149 minus 30. That's why my wish is 119. Also, that's kind of a bug there that it's saying that I have, it takes normally 149. It should be 150 minus 30, but whatever. But let's say my pity was in 17. Some people are getting that minus 30 and then their wish becomes 30 now. And the same thing for Supreme Wish. If you were, 1 away or 2 away, then it becomes 3. So I think that's kind of that's definitely something that they probably can't fix this quickly, if I had to guess, between a patch. So hopefully the next time they do something like this, they address that, because that is kind of terrible for the people that, this is supposed to be an event that's good, or just give us the option to turn it off. But I feel like that's not really an elegant solution. I think that's kind of a lazy solution. I like that more for the Rateup banners, where it's like, okay, I want to pull, but the Rateup is not what I'm looking for. So you can just turn it off. Where something like this, it should just be universally better. They just need to be able to fix it and not have that error. It's just kind of an embarrassing error in my opinion. So hopefully they fix that for the next time they do this in the future. And so then lastly, let's close out with, well, I also wanted to, before we get into Iger, I do want to talk about Zia and why I'm excited for this character for people, because this is the character I've actively put investment into. This is one of my best single target damage dealers. I was using her a ton. Well, I still use her a ton. I have her at E4. And that's because I've pulled 2 dupes, but I've also put in Dragon Eyes to this character. Like I'm a fan of this hero quite a bit, and I think it's pretty exciting that everyone's going to be able to get her. So I could like kind of talk about, because I have her built out. I've been using her in a ton of content, so I think I have a lot of experience using her, and I think she's totally worth building out. I do think if you're going to be going for Lucifer, the Lucifer is just an objectively better version of her in pretty much every scenario. The only other scenario being in Faction Abyss. I think this is a good faction to push, but also this faction is here too in Doom Legion with Lucifer. So depending on where you go, both of them are good factions to push, but you obviously can't use Lucifer here. You have to use Zia. So that's going to be an example there. I think she's great everywhere. I'm a big fan of her in Arena, a big fan of her in Clan Boss. Yes, there's better heroes out there, but I think she's definitely a character that deserves to be in this situation here when it comes to the quests, because it's like she's not like a game changer. She's not like an HP burn hero. She's not like breaking the game here, especially at one copy. I think she starts to scale up the more Dragon Eyes you put into her. And then there's other characters out there that are just objectively better than her, in Lucifer, for example. So it's like, I think she's a fair character to be giving people, but I'm a fan that people are actually going to be getting something like this, because it's hard to be excited about an Eric. It's hard to be excited about a Mutu, for example, whereas Zia is like legitimately, I think, a little better than those people. Okay. And then lastly, let's talk on the new hero in Iger, because this is going to be one of the best miracle Rateup summon things that they've done, period, pretty much. And it all kind of hinged on Iger if it really was one of the best, or if he's kind of bad, then it kind of definitely makes the miracle event not nearly as good. Because right now, here's the list. Nidrold amazing, Slaville amazing, Malia and Paulin all amazing characters. Then not only that, but 3 out of the 4 epics are also amazing too. So this is already going to be really good. But let's check out Iger and see how good his kit is. He's a single target damage dealer, so a lot of this is going to be really dependent on his numbers, but he has some encouraging things, because I feel like if you're going to be a single target damage dealer in this game, you got to have something in your kit that is massively boosting your damage. Like if you look at all the good ones, they all have something like that. For example, Lucifer has a ton of extra crit damage and a ton of extra crit rate. Zia is giving herself like 110% extra crit damage for her to actually do good damage with that. That's on her A2. So hopefully they have something like this. We won't know for sure without seeing the numbers, but already seems pretty good. So deals 3 stages of attack damage to a single enemy. And then this is where I have hope that he's actually going to be good, because it's a pretty big punishment looking at what this does. So All Out Strike enters the All Out status, deducting 25% of max HP at the beginning of his turn for 3 turns. Then All Out will end early if Iger's HP is below 25% at the beginning of his turn. Afterwards, he grants himself an extra action turn. So he uses this, and then All Out gives all to the fight, reduces self-defense and tenacity, increases self-leech and piercing rate. So the big one is the piercing rate, so he's basically going to be ignoring defense. And then meanwhile, his crit is guaranteed for all attacks. Besides, deducts a certain amount of max HP at the beginning of self-turn, and the status ends when self-remaining HP is lower. Okay, and then the Bloody Fight reduces his defense and tenacity when he's under All Out status and increases his leech, so it's the same thing there. And then he does 3 stages of attack damage to a single enemy. So we need to see the numbers for this. These things are just so, I don't know, it's like a nice little graphic, but they're just basically worthless in determining how good a character is, because he has a 3 hit on the ult, 3 hit on the auto attack. It really depends on the modifiers, because if you're going to be reducing my HP by 25% every turn, and then also the defense and tenacity go down, but the piercing rate goes up, like those are pretty big punishments. I better be getting a very good reward, whereas one of the highest modifiers possible on the ultimate and the auto attack. Because what I'm thinking here is he's like a boss killer, so in that case he's probably only going to be good in like clan boss, and maybe if you can get him to survive until the final encounter of a dungeon, for example, that's going to be very tough to do. So I'm thinking like clan boss only specialist, he better be hitting like an absolute truck, like right up there with Lucifer, for this guy to ever be justified in being usable with all those punishments. Because Lucifer gets all these benefits. He gets stealth, he gets feebleness, he gets defense down, he gets like all these other things, that this guy is just a raw single target damage dealer, that this guy's like pretty terrible if he doesn't have these insane modifiers to work like this. And then it looks like he does get way better with exclusives, which is unfortunate, because I like to judge people just off one copy, because I think that's like a reasonable thing to shoot for, unless you're wailing out like crazy. But the exclusive one, under the all-out status, he gains Immortal at the start of his own turn for 2 turns, and then reduces his HP deduction at the start of every turn to 20%. So that's still a pretty big punishment. Like, it just saves him 5% extra health. You're going to need to have a ton of support for this guy to make him work. And then it just makes it, when it ends, it's at 20% instead of 25%. And then exclusive 2 is really good, where it increases Iger's direct damage by 20% while he's under all-out status, and additionally increases the direct damage by 0.8 for every 1% of max HP he loses, up to 40%, And then when he attacks bosses, his direct damage is at a fixed 60% while he's under the all-out status. So you don't get that 0.8 thing, but you do get 60% bonus damage, which is pretty nuts. And then lastly at E3, the higher the enemy's target HP percentages, the higher the damage of God Anger deals up to 50%, which is his ultimate. So that's like blatantly telling me they want, this guy to be a boss killer. It's just all over his kit. That's his intention. Let's see if he actually lives up to it based on his numbers, which we'll see here in a few days, I believe. Okay, so I think that's pretty much it when it comes to this. Overall, kind of a bummer that the next summoning event for the shards here is not nearly as good as what it was advertised like to us as the content creators, but is what it is. I feel like 20% increase is actually like pretty insane. I was figuring they were like changing it to 20%, but like if people saved up their shards there, I bet it would have been like people would have been pulling legendaries like left and right. So it makes it does make more sense that it's like a 10%er, but that's not a really exciting thing to advertise. Like, oh, here we boosted the rates by 2%. Okay, so kind of a bummer there. But that's pretty much it for this video, guys, and you guys have a good one. Peace.